Talk.
Oh my gosh, we're back. Episode 21. We made it. We made it. Red carpet next week. Gotta pick out my dress. I think that was the worst intro to any podcast that has ever existed. This is episode 21 of Canadian Talk. This is a podcast where we talk about nothing. And basically the only thing I got going for me is my nationality, so I pretty much focus on that. I say too much, so if you like that. Basically what I'm doing today, last episode got more views than any episode I've ever had, like 10,000, and I was just spitting all episode. So I'm just gonna burn pizza boxes today that are full of old pizza. And maybe that smell will somehow come through the audio, and then this will get 20,000 views. Drinking Corona today because I love Corona, and that's just the way she go. Great Western has not had any good sales lately, so I'm kind of upset about that. That's the other reason I'm not fucking with Great Western. I just realized I forgot to set up my little thing back here. So, and there's a cable that's just slinging into midair. I don't know if you can see it in the shot. Yeah, you can. And that is literally just coming down from the roof. That's the internet. It's nice to have a hard wire in the studio, though. Not gonna lie. Just gotta pull up my email here because I got my list of comedic inputs on there. It is Thursday, and this episode was supposed to be on Wednesday. So guess what? It's late. I just got something in my mouth that's like not plastic. It looks like a toenail. Who knows? I hope it wasn't in my beer. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't have been. Alrighty. Who knows? System's gonna be slow here. Don't need a list anyway. So I believe I have, what do I have going on? Fucking nothing. Nothing. This fire's too hot. That's what's going on. Burning pizza boxes. That's probably what's making it get too hot. So, yeah, I've thought of some really funny bits for this next guest. I don't know what I want. I'm calling bits, and I got to keep them secret though. Not that they're going to be pranks, but they'll be fun for me anyway. So I assume that it'll come through as fun. What has there been going on in the podcast world? Obviously locally nothing, because there is nothing like that. The vaccine's out. People are now arguing about whether or not they should take it, which is ridiculous. like, it's unfortunate that people don't understand what a vaccine is, but just like anything, people haven't understood the whole pandemic right from the beginning. So it's not like people are going to start understanding it now. Because if most of the dumb people who are scared of the whole thing, if they understood that a vaccine is basically just injecting yourself with the disease, basically, of course they don't want to take it. Good Lord. Well, yeah, Canadian talk is the name. People, comedy is the game. I maybe sound a little nasally right now. I kind of feel like blowing my nose. Oh, and there we got tissues. This studio is equipped with everything, people. It's like we're in the Taj Mahal. And then free recycling, disposal. I've been doing a lot of solo episodes. This podcast is really about getting to know others, other Canadians that are, academics and inspiring people. But also sometimes I'm too lazy to get guests, and I don't like to have an accelerated planning schedule, so I like to just give a lot of time for whatever's going on. So, man, I always tap stuff on this stool when I record here, and I know I shouldn't because I know how much you can hear it in the mic. The whole producer thing too is like I don't really need one, so it's kind of hard for me to get one. Bert Kreischer he never really has had one. He has like one guy who's like a remote editor, but it's not really needed in a lot of ways. So, well, there we go. My internet's opening up now. Okay, one quick second for a pause. Well, we're at 7 minutes. Maybe I'll edit this pause out, maybe not. Okay, the list has been found. Oh. I wonder if you can see that in the camera. I guess you could if you zoomed in. I don't want to give away my jokes. If I turn it like that, maybe the camera can't see it. There we go. So, a skit series that I'm thinking about doing is I want to use a sleep recorder to record some things that happen while I sleep. That's one of the skit ideas that I've been thinking about. That should be pretty funny, whether they're real or fake. I don't know if anybody, I know that some people, as you're listening to this, maybe you can look up some internet videos. If you have seen, man, I'm already, nothing has really happened yet, and I'm 9 minutes in. I apologize if this has been boring. But first thing the person should look up is guy getting killed by lathe, and then Tom Segura. It's this crazy video of this guy getting killed by a lathe. The other thing is look up, there's this new video of, some people have been saying, oh, that's no big deal, but it's also kind of funny. But the Prince Charles and Camilla, so that's the adulterated royal couple there. I don't know if they're cast away or what, but they were in Canada, and they were at a I guess like an Indian ceremony, Native American ceremony, right? Whatever, Aboriginal, whatever you want to call it. And also on the thing that I saw, it said Indian. And they were doing, their singing practices, and the prince and Camila were laughing, and they're on video laughing during the thing. It's really, I don't know. I'm sure that they just come out and say, "Oh, we were laughing about something else," But yeah, if you want to look up a funny video, the royal family is laughing at that ceremony. It's not funny that they did it. Like, maybe some people might be angered by it, but for me, I just found it as kind of a funny thing for Canadian news was. The royal family at one of these ceremonies laughing. I mean, I guess, should you be surprised though? I guess they colonized them. So it's like, I guess you would expect them not to respect their ceremonies, right? In a certain way. Let's put another pizza in there. Pizza number 2. These things burn hot. Some people hate on Corona. So now we'll do a little beer review, I guess. Some people hate on Corona. Like, they say that it's too skunky. I really disagree. Man, this stool is so unlevel, and every time you can hear it wiggling, gonna fucking... Okay, there we go. I figured it out. I got it stable. So, yeah, like, people say that Corona's a bit too skunky, and I don't know if I agree. I think it's a good beer. You kind of like, it's like a beer drinker's beer, you kind of like that spritzy, skunky taste. You can grow to like it anyway. I have. Oh yeah, the other thing is I was going to address why the episode's late. I mean, I guess I just didn't. Good thing is for no real reason. I just have been taking some time off. So if it seems like I'm in a good mood, I guess that's why. But yeah, I just didn't really feel like doing it yesterday. I was taking in too much other things, watching all the other good podcasts around Saskatoon and area, as well as the bigger ones. Because if there's anything that I do, it's listen to every single podcast that's out there, that does entail a lot of hours. It's a lot of information. The other thing that's been going on is, like I have said before, views are up. That's good. But I've been getting, I haven't been getting any negativeness, which is great. I expected more. But any type of flack that I have been getting, me as a person, sorry to talk about myself, folks, for another moment. This is just talk about the show. Is I've been getting, because I guess I want to get some input of what anybody would think. You can hit the regular email, as always, CanadianTalkWithStephan@gmail.com. But like, I've been getting some flack from, older comedians saying that podcast comedy, it doesn't count as comedy, that kind of a thing. And I am a little, it's a worthwhile critique. I understand. I know that stand up in front of a crowd is definitely much, but some people would say harder than doing it in a podcast way. But yeah, because right now I might be getting booed. If I was doing this, right now I might be getting, you might be booing me anyway. But I just don't get. I don't have to see it. But I wonder if maybe that's jealousy, that nowadays that all of the technology is accessible and purchasable, like affordable for the kind of the average person to do this, whereas so you can have an audience without having to take that scary risk that they do to jump out in front of an audience. Though I've done it before, but I prefer this. I'm able to brainstorm more clearly and not be nervous. Whatever else goes along with that. But yeah, that's the main amount of flack that I've been getting as a person. If anybody disagrees or agrees, just hit me up. I've gotten a lot of feedback from various channels, but so yeah, I know most people, you don't want to buy something from a show that's this small, so I understand. I have the merch there anyway, just for fun, for if there's the super meta people Um, there's t-shirts, and I'm gonna add more kind of like funny. I got some funny art pieces that I'm gonna add onto there that are interesting, and you can look at them. There'll be pictures and that. Money is good. Buy things. I mostly just like just making things that man, this is. I'm sorry for all the fragments, folks. Just I don't have anything posted yet, but I will. I do make things, not just podcasts, and they will eventually be accessible on the website. As I've said before, there's other things that are accessible in theory. You just have to email and ask, right? You can always anything that's just because there isn't pictures up, you can always email and ask. And I've mentioned those things before, so they're always up there. But yeah, I've got good guests coming. I've got jokes written. I've been preparing. It should be entertaining. Especially if it gets edited properly. But it will take place in this studio, most likely. Yeah, pretty sweet. Um, you know, what is comedy to me? So I want to just talk. Let's just talk a little bit about what comedy is to me. Folks, you've made it. About 20 minutes into this episode. I commend you for that. I commend your attention span, whether you're on the audio or the video. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you watching. I hope you think about stuff along with me, because that's all I'm doing here is just thinking about stuff. I've been noticing I'm gonna lose my train of thought. But I've been noticing my episodes have been a little short. I want to try to do a longer one. Will it be today? I don't want to put the pressure on myself of that, but it might be. So, we'll see. We'll just see what happens. I'm in the best of moods lately. Oh, burping. That's beer, I guess. That's what happens. That's halfway through one beer. I mean, I've had others before this, so that's the thing. It's not 7 a.m. today, though, folks. It's a little bit later in the day on this Thursday, December 10th or whatever it is. All of a sudden, it got a real cold snap today, so I had to warm up the garage. It's a garage, okay, people? But what? Microsoft started in a garage. To me, I call it a studio. So what does that mean? That means it's a fucking studio. Because I didn't want to just do it in a room. I wanted to have a separate building. I know there's lots of people out there who just have their little room. And a lot of people rely on celebrity. They're like, oh, I'm a celebrity, and they just talk, and you want to hear that celebrity talk, which is great. I like to have a little bit of infrastructure behind it, have my little podcast building. Yeah, so it has its own little physical location. You can have lots of rooms and stuff. Now that it's been inspected and all that, it's pretty good. It's not finished with that yet, but yep. So I have some listens, which is great. I want to talk about that for a little bit with anybody who actually happens to click on this. Don't feel guilty if you. Oh my God, I can't just do self-loathing, can I? Can I? There's nobody around me to tell me no. My own girlfriend a lot of times doesn't listen, especially when it's a solo. So my parents, I don't think my parents listen. So don't worry about it. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. I think that a lot of the brainstorming that happens on here is productive from an intellectual, comedic standpoint. If you don't, then I guess don't listen. I don't know. Yeah. So, I also, what else is there in the world? There's labeling. This show is not right wing. This show is a center show. If anybody ever labels me, that's great. Just know that if you've labeled me right or left, I won't talk to you anymore, because that's against what this is about. I'm not a partisan person when I discuss politics, and so please don't label this show. This is not about that. If you you can't label a show. Can you though? People would say that you can. They'd be like, it doesn't matter what the show is about. If it's about comedy, about anything, it can be based on the presenter or whoever. We just can put it in a category. You can't though. I mean, because then you're labeling me, and I've already labeled myself as nonpartisan. What is that? So bipartisan. So, like, that's not fair to label somebody who has labeled you different. Like you can't label somebody. You can't be like, hey, I'm not gay. No, you're gay. Man, I'm kind of psyched about having this internet connection out here in the studio, to be honest with you. I forgot I was talking about the studio before already, but it's nice to have that. But by the way, if people, I want to just talk about some things that people don't understand for a second. First off, a hardwire connection for the internet is twice as fast as a Wi-Fi connection. Okay, here's the other thing. Bits and bytes are not the same thing. So a lot of people are like, they won't even know. You'll be like, how fast is your internet or whatever, and they won't know that that bits and bytes are different. Like I've got 20 megabits or megabytes. They won't even know. By the way, and that's how a lot of people get tricked with their internet speeds. You have to realize that a lot of times now the internet companies they'll do it in bits, and there's 8 bits in a byte. And really, what you're looking for when you're looking at real speeds, like if you're downloading something and you have something that tracks it, it'll be measured in megabytes, because megabits is just it's too small of a measure. So it's a good little trick. So make sure you know that. Like a lot of people get tricked by that when it comes to their internet speeds. And so yeah, there's 8 bits in a byte, and fast internet, by the way, is like 100 megabytes per second and up. If you have less than that, and that's megabytes, so that would mean that you better have at least 300, or sorry, I guess that's 800? Wait, hold on, I'm saying that wrong. No, I'm getting mixed up. But really though, a fast internet is, you want to get around 100 megabits per second and up. Upload or download, whatever. So most people don't understand bits and bytes and what a fast internet speed is. You definitely want to be above 50, whether it's bits or bytes. But if you have above 50 and it's bytes, you're really rocking. Yeah. So you're looking for 20 to 30 megabytes per second, and between 100 and 300 megabits per second. That was way too long-winded of an explanation. I apologize. I need to have a way to punish myself on the show when I do too long-winded of a explanation. The other thing that a lot of people don't understand is GPS works on your phone location, whether you have data or not. So you can have just a random phone that has no data plan, you're not paying any money for it. You turn that thing on. If you have an offline map downloaded, that phone can track your location. So you can always, if you have a phone, you can always use a map, and you can have your location live on that phone, whether you have data or not. You just have to be within these services. If you're out of cell service, I believe that your GPS location services can still work even if you're out of general cell service as well. So it's good for navigation. I've used it before, guys. Like I go on camping trips at kind of up north, really far up north, and I use them. I use it all the time. So yeah, doesn't require data. So you can be out of service and not have service and still use your GPS, by the way. Just make sure you download that offline map before you go out of service, because you'll need internet to download the offline map. But your location will still be there when you lose internet. Your location services, your dot on that map, if you pull it up on Google Maps, will still be there. A lot of people don't know that. Yes, so GPS doesn't require data. Fuck, what else? So we go back to the list. I mean, what do we got going on here, folks? I could talk a little bit. What do we got here? Relationships. Okay. Okay. sometimes they go good, and sometimes they go bad, and when they go long, they can be good and bad. Um, my camera's been doing that a lot. I saw you, camera, zooming in and out like that. Is that because I moved closer? I don't know. You gotta. I'm all out of pizza boxes. I can't burn them anymore. Um, having a partner is a gift. At the end of the day, you have to see it as that. And both people are gonna have, their things going on. Bad. If you analyze them as bad on one given day, maybe they're bad. Um, the thing. But they maybe have a couple of things that are like that. But you can't look at them as those bad things, because you probably personally have some of those bad things to do with yourself. And you have to remember, all you can do is just be optimistic about your partner. Know when you're getting abused. If you're getting abused, you're getting abused. Call them out on that. They'll have no choice but to accept, like that they're being abusive or manipulative or whatever. But and call that out when you need to, just to stand up for yourself. But a lot of times you just have to stand down in a lot of situations, especially as a guy. Okay. I am a blank slate when it comes to knowing how to be a man, especially in a relationship type setting. So this here, you guys are about to see somewhere where I do actually have a nuanced perspective that very few people can have. Okay, so let's just put it that way. I am what would be derogatorily called a bastard, I guess, right? Like in Game of Thrones. So I have I am a blank slate when it comes to knowing how to be a man in certain relationship situations as well as child rearing situations. So I have a lot more lessons to learn than the average Chucky Joe. And why was I talking about that? I don't know. Am I just being a narcissist again, talking about myself? But so I'm a bastard. So we were talking about relationships, and so so whenever I get into situations where I feel that things are like, hey, what I have decided is it seems the best route of dealing with altercation is, especially as a man, is just kind of standing down a lot of times. Like, both parties have to kind of know when to stand down. If the other person is in an angry state, you can't deny that you've been in an angry state before. And the angry states of the two different people happen at different times. So if that person is having theirs, you have to try to be okay with it. And, I've never had a dad to watch for this stuff. But I've had the pleasure of having two moms to watch. And they teach you a lot. And a lot of times the tenderest approach is the best approach, especially when it comes to family, because your family will always be something that you should hold dear. So it would never be a bad approach to have a tender approach to family. That would be a good idea. I think at any corner. Oh, what was a good one? Get Duped. I watched a movie on, it was Amazon Plus, I think. So the most Netflix people won't be able to find it. Get Duped is on Amazon Plus. Very funny. Give it a chance. It's about 4 British kids. It's like a new aged road trip movie, but now hash and weed has been kind of normalized. So it's these 4 kids that are on a little hike. They're on a hike and they do hash and have a fun adventure. It's pretty crazy. So watch that movie. That's the general premise. I think I've got to take a pee break. I made it through one beer, and I got to take a pee break. That's 30 minutes in. Thanks for listening so far. I'll be right back. All right, and we are present. We are present. I am the multiple. I consider myself multiple people. We're opening this bad boy up to warm up because I went outside, people. Like, we're having a cold spell right now in the old Canada land. Because this is a Canadian location, folks. This is a Canadian podcast. But right now that we're kind of mid-December, we've had a bit of a cold spell, if you will. So, unfortunately, it's a little bit chilly out there. We're looking at about, with the wind chill, minus 20 degrees Celsius. Without the wind chill, so actual temperature-wise, right now they're saying it's only about minus 15, which isn't too bad. But that's not too bad if you're a Canadian, I might add. Like, a lot of times there's certain genres of people that if they hear below zero, below 0 Fahrenheit or Celsius, they're like, oh, that's as cold as it gets. Here, 0 is warm. Up here. Oh man, what else was going on? Two Bears One Cave was asking for some funny videos. That Two Bears One Cave is a podcast that I watch, a comedy podcast on YouTube and things like that, all the podcast platforms. Comedians Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer. They were asking for some submissions for some shit. I did some videos already. I might send those out. And if they get recognized, I will come back to you guys and show you the videos. I might show the videos on here, on the pages and things as well. Just because they're funny videos to submit to these other funny shows. That's how it goes. I don't know. Work your way up the ladder, the hierarchy ladder of comedy. But yeah, so I'll keep you posted on that. Definitely, if you've clicked here, definitely watch the next episode. That's going to be a good episode with the person that I'm bringing on that one. If it all pans out. I still don't even want to say the name. Have I still not said the name? Because I feel like I'll be a failure if I say the name and I get excited. And because we haven't even had a phone conversation too much about it yet. But, we are old poker adversaries, so there's a connection there. And we'll see what happens with our conversation. But my point is that if I was to say, hey, he's coming on, and then he wasn't to come on, I'd feel like a failure. So, because he's a bigger, when it comes to this world, the comedy world especially, and the media world, he is a much bigger deal than me. He's in it. He's been in this for decades. So it's a gift for me to have this gentleman potentially into the studio to have a conversation with me about comedy and about life. I don't know. I've talked to him before, of course, at the casino and things when we're in our poker settings and but that's when we're adversaries and we're both putting on images to try to play poker, right? So that'll be different than the setting that we're going to be in this time. So, if anybody's wondering too what that little wiggling sound is, I'm opening and closing the Canadian Talk Podcast official heat source, and the stool that I have, the official Canadian Talk Podcast stool that I have. Well, this is, I have a good microphone with an arm back there. Like, if you're wondering what the floating hat is there behind me, that is a hat that's guarding a secondary mic that I use for the guests. I don't like to have any dust and things fall on there, because of this. Anybody understand? Anybody who's paying attention will understand why. So yeah, folks, this is a podcast. Most people who listen to these types of long-winded podcasts are truckers or delivery men or people like that, people who have jobs where their ears are liberated. Ears? Did I pronounce that right? Where their I feel like I said earbs. Where their ears are liberated. I was a delivery man for a long while, while I was doing my engineering thing. So I did listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel I owe a lot to the community of people who have made these things and made me continue to feel connected as a human to these other people while I was out there. What do you call it? Doing your penance to society, or what? Like, even if you are a fully law-abiding citizen, you have to... I feel I maybe have risen above it. I don't want to get too arrogant. But when you're young, you have to pay a penance to society for at least 10 years. Like 5-10 years, depending on how smart you are, how talented and gifted you are relative to societal norms and expectations. Because, of course, conforming to those will be what will help your success. But you have to pay a penance of a length of time, depending on how talented you are with understanding what the challenges are in front of you with surviving in this environment. And I paid that penance for a while. I delivered packages out in the winter here in Canada for a while, and that's while I was going to school for what I did, and was doing other pursuits as well on the side to make money. And that's what it takes, if you want to fucking make it. Sorry I revved up there, folks, for a minute. Oy, oy, oy. I said I was through one beer. I still haven't finished that one beer. That's not good. I mean, I drink beer slow, so. It's nice. It saves me a lot of money. I've always had a thing for fires. Not saying that I'm having a fire right now. I've always had a thing for fires my whole life. Usually outdoor fires. And I've always liked wood, and I never understood why. I assume it has something to do with fire, its connection to fire, and how fire has a connection to comfort and cooking our food and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that's why I have such a impartiality to it. Another thing that fire does for us and wood does for us is, and this connects to an anthropological principle that I have strong belief in. It's academic in nature, but I believe that I've seen this from other professionals, by the way. I didn't just come up with this. This is from other professionals. A question that I had long-standing academically in my mind when I was in my various courses, anthropology and biology, in university and in high school. I took these courses throughout the course of my engineering. In engineering, they require a lot of other classes that aren't just engineering. And I was curious about how humans got so much smarter than the other monkeys. What did the monkeys... Let me just make sure I'm recording audio here, folks. Just a second. Oh no. Oh, man. Well, here's the thing. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. This kind of just happened live, which is kind of funny. And this is why you make sure that you have a backup redundant audio. So we're 40 minutes in. Wait, I want to remember what I was talking about. I was talking about... I could play the recording and I could hear it. But, fuck. I guess this would be a moment where it'd be good to have a producer. I was talking about relationships. I'll come back to that. I wanted to say that this is why you have a backup redundant audio. Okay, as I was using my main audio, which is now, it's now hooked up. Okay, it's now hooked up. I have a backup redundant audio, so the first 40 minutes of this may have slightly lower quality audio, but the second half will have the proper mic. Man, thank goodness I have the redundant audio. But yeah, I forgot to plug in my mic. Like, geez, am I ever gonna get this shit fucking figured out? I'll tell you when I do my next interview. And this is why you do test runs, right? Even this is episode 21. You're gonna make mistakes. So, but I'll tell you, for the next episode, I'm gonna take that shit seriously, super seriously. I'm not gonna fuck any of that stuff up. Yeah, I would have lost that first 40 minutes if I hadn't had this pretty decent backup redundant audio. But I've had other episodes with guests that I lost it. I wasn't able to use it because I fucked up something with the technical aspect of recording. Because yeah, so, and I've talked about that on previous episodes. I don't know, fucking 15, 16, 17 episode. Go check it out, and I'm sure I'll be talking about... I feel like I have a little wand right now. It's a piece of wood. That's going to be really annoying probably on the audio, hearing me smacking on things. I talk about how I fucked shit up with that before, so I won't talk about it again. So... let's open it up here. Or we still got a list here. Let's check that out. Oh, I was talking about girlfriends and then this debate here that we've been having. So, yeah, I try my best to be a good boyfriend, and that does involve a lot of surrender at times. And, yeah, I hope everybody else out there is trying to be a good partner, because you have to really realize that you're not perfect as well. Me and the old ball and chain, whoever it happens to be at this given time, she finally, here, let me tell you this. I did want to say this. She finally fixed a shirt of mine that she ripped one time. There was one time where she was angry at me and she ripped my shirt, and she fixed it. And I just wanted to say that because she probably won't listen to this 45 minutes in anyway. So I just want to say that thank you for doing that. And anybody else might have a laugh because they might have their own experience with a spouse that did something like that. It's nice when something gets fixed where it was a long-standing scar in a relationship. That was one thing. It's nice also when you see productivity with the different pursuits that you got to do, and that's happening. It happens, you just got to be patient, and you got to not force it. A lot of times people force things, and that's just not the way you do it. Being vague, I want to talk about being vague for a second, because I've always thought being vague was so annoying. I hated people who were vague. But what's beautiful about vagueness is it leaves space for something. And what that something is I guess, personal thought. And that's the value of vagueness, is because I'm always annoyed whenever I'm doing something that's a little bit challenging, okay? Anybody out there who's maybe done something a bit challenging will know this. The feeling that you have when you maybe feel alone because the challenge is challenging. Realize at that moment that you're supposed to feel alone. That's the challenge. And you're supposed to get through it on your own. Other people have before. it's just a challenge. Like life is like, that's why video games that have quests are so healthy for kids, because life is just a big game of quests, and you have to understand that each thing is just a new challenge. And turning to depression, turning to frustration and negativity will never be the answer. Anyway, yeah, we're another 10 minutes into this. I'm really glad I saved everything, and we're continuing on here, folks. The video is good. The video is there, and the redundant audio is there, but it will have lower quality audio for the first while. But I'm happy to be here in your ear now in the proper audio. This is actually my backup mic. But yeah, I'm in your ear now with the proper mic. Nice and warm in the studio. More ums. Do an counter. We're probably at about 200 right by now. But we do have ourselves a pretty decently long podcast today, which is good. Getting things talked about. What else do I have to talk about? I have been saying too much. I am going to try to not say anymore for the rest of this recording. I am glad. I almost said again, and I turned it into an I. Did you see that? That's very tricky. I want to talk about some of my involvement with the potential guest that could come on. Man, I was talking about relationships. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. If you're watching on video or if you're listening on audio, thank you. So, with the girlfriend, we have been discussing the clash of, let's call it, let me scratch my crotch off camera here. We have been discussing the clash of some industries. And those industries are the construction industry, or, the infrastructure production industry, if you will, and the healthcare industry. Because I was trying to make the point that I feel that the healthcare industry is quite... They make a lot of money. People know this at the intermediate level, which is, of course, medical doctors. At the higher level, which is, of course, the owners of the hospitals, with the proprietary entrepreneurs. And then even the lower workers, the nurses and the care aides and those things. They all get paid much better than people in the construction industry. They have better job security. They have better benefits. So, where do we draw the line with, that the government needs to step in and help in terms of union and promotion of the value of the infrastructure workers? Because I am technically one of them. I'm a manager in the infrastructure industry. I guess that would have been what I used to, that's kind of what I am. So, I have concern, though, because these workers in the healthcare industry, they're always lobbying for themselves, especially with a situation like coronavirus, right? They're, oh man, I hate this. This looks bad, people, okay? Fuck, this is what they call satirical comedy. Don't hate me. This is why I self-deprecate, so that I'm allowed to say these things. Healthcare industry, they want everybody to value them more. They have lobby groups that are like, hey, we're valuable. Especially during a pandemic, they're like, we're so overworked. Construction industry workers are always overworked. A lot of industries are always overworked, and they don't get paid a lot of times half of what these healthcare workers get paid. I'm serious. People don't get paid half of what these healthcare workers get paid. So when it comes time for them to step up or be in danger in terms of healthcare, I think that's kind of what's expected. But then, so me and my significant other at the current moment have been debating about that and whether or not the government needs to step in and help the construction and infrastructure industry a bit, so that people, or government needs to step in and, I guess, give the healthcare a little bit less money. I mean, I know that sounds horrible, but also here in Saskatoon, I saw this recently on the news. I saw that they kind of, I don't know if this is just a headline to appease some of the protests or what, but they reduced the funding of the police service this year, which is kind of interesting. Maybe because they made extra money from COVID tickets or something. I don't know. or didn't have to pay their workers because everybody was, not working. That might have also been what was happening. But apparently the budget was reduced by $200,000 this year for the Saskatoon Police Service. So, which is interesting for Canadian Talk podcast, produced in Saskatchewan. So yeah, that's the debate I've been having about that, and I will return to that debate, I think, with others. And I'd like to hear anything on the email or whatever, and I'm thinking about putting a phone line on the website as well pretty soon to leave voice messages, because I'd like to have some voice messages I can play on the show here. Yeah, I already talked about on the other audio about the princess or the Camilla and the Prince Charles laughing at the show. That's pretty crazy. And then I got lots of questions here that I want to ask guests. One of the things I've been wanting to do is I've been wanting to try what's called Minhas beer. There's this beer company that has made a 24-pack that is apparently $29.99, which is pretty affordable. I've been wanting to try that and compare it with Great Western and stuff live on the show, because I want to see if it truly is worth it for a $29.99 pack. Because if it's worth it to get that, I want everybody that listens to this to know that, hey, stop getting whatever other beer, start getting Minhas, because they have the best 24-pack for however much, right? But I want to do that taste test first. I'm not sure if I have to run that by them or what. Like, I don't know that about a lot of the brands. Like, not that there's any brands on here. I've been mostly just doing positive stuff. But this will be the first comparison where somebody might be like, hey, don't put our brand on there and tell us that beer is better than our beer. That's not fair. We're going to sue you for defamation. Like, that could happen. So I should be careful. The one that I compare the Minhas with, I guess I should probably block the brand. That's what I'll do. Oh, apologies for that, listeners. Just clearing the old talking tube, if you will. There's one beer down. It only took me 55 minutes, and forgetting to plug in my mic like an absolute moron. I'm proud. I made it to an hour here, folks. I wanted to let you know how proud I am of myself. For some reason. I don't know why. What else we got here? I don't think there's anything else on the list, folks. It's kind of just time to freewheel it. Everything else I want to save for my guests. I don't want to waste too much good content on a solo episode, especially because I'm an hour in. I guess I'll probably just call it for today. I didn't do any ads or anything like that or talk about any people. Thanks to anybody who listened. You know where the websites are. You know where to listen on the podcast catchers and apps, as well as on YouTube or on the website, stephanjackson.ca. As well, there's companies out there if you need things. This is an audio production, so if you need music, hit up some bands that are around here. There's K & Company Music, there's Bombargo, there's Dirty and the Perks. If you Google any of these band names, you will find what you need to find, of course, people. Google is a wonderful tool that exists nowadays, so I'm going to expect that you have it, and you can just hear me say it, and that's good enough. If you needed DJ services for some sort of situation, there's a Mic Drop Productions. That is a great company that does DJ services. And other than that, I was going to end it, but I'm just looking at this beer now, and it's full, and it gave me energy. See, this is kind of, if you want to understand why I do that, is I know that beer isn't good for you, but it does become good for you if you're able to use it. Like, I was about to sign off. Now the question is should I sign off? Because I have this beer here. And I would rather drink it in this theoretical space with people that are, in the phantom internet than just by into my dwelling there, I don't know. Because I got to drink too. Do I? Maybe. I don't know. So, what else has been going on? Let me see if I can think of something that's really interesting here. Well, I just spilled beer on myself. So that's great. Hey, there was another after I said I wasn't gonna So, there's a vaccine for COVID now. Should we still be afraid? I mean, probably not. But it's up to you guys. Don't think I'm a fucking anti-masker. I'm just saying it's not really worth it to be afraid anymore. Trump has been beaten. It worked, guys. I would say probably go back to your normal lives. So that's to do with that. I hope that it ends soon in terms of the regulation, meaning the government letting companies work how they want to work without getting fined, because I think that that's really upsetting. So, any listeners out there, I want to thank you for listening. This podcast was made in the hopes of bringing some light to people's lives who listen. I'm not, it's not hard to set up a podcast. A lot of people have them nowadays in terms of setting it up properly. But I was able to figure it out. I mean, great. But, I had been planning it for a good 10 years before I was able to figure it out. But, I mean, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. Maybe I am stupid, but there's lots of people making podcasts nowadays. It's becoming easier and easier. But this is meant. I want to just thank everybody for listening, and just know that I am happy to connect with you guys, and I'm happy to listen. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy to share some time with you and a beer with you. I think people need to start putting more respect, I guess, or weight into spending time with people. You're one another. Having respect for your fellow man as he's in front of you. And that really, I guess, does come down to seeing people for their faults or not, right? I guess that's what I was talking about earlier as well, is you can't focus on people's faults. You got to see people for the good things that they are. And that's all we can do out there, If you want to hear something funny too, let me tell you this. Here's a theory I have about speech. Is a lot of times it's easy to make fun of people for how they talk, like presidents and stuff. People that are forced to talk a lot. It's easy to make fun of people that maybe aren't super articulate. But realize that when you talk a lot, it's hard to be articulate all the time. Like even if you, like Sam Harris, okay, I always gripe on Sam Harris, but he's super articulate, especially when he used to do when he first started and he was doing his philosophy presentations and trying to, like in front of academic establishments. And he'd have his laptop and he would be really articulate because he'd just be mostly reading and riffing. But if you ever listen to his podcast, it's boring as fuck, right? Like when he's talking just riffing, it's boring as fuck. So to be articulate, sometimes it's too slow, So, okay, if you want fast and articulate, okay, go and listen to Russell Brand. But even him sometimes, he kind of sounds like an insane person. So, anyway. Thanks for anybody listening to my opinions. I appreciate you tuning into episode 21 of Canadian Talk. I'm going to sign off before I get too boring. Hopefully next episode will be a big guest. So this one is going to be released today, one day late. And then next week, I'm hoping to have a good guest, but maybe not. Maybe. Who knows? There might be some poker videos as well as some other skit videos. All comedy, folks. All funny. And I appreciate you being here. I'm happy to be here too, though. So, either way, you're this is my life. You're fueling my life if you're listening. I'm hopefully fueling your life, and we work together. And that's the fucking way of the world. podcast, baby. Canadian Talk. Out. Episode 21. Oh, this is going to take me a long time to turn everything off. Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to canadiantalkwithstephan@gmail.com. Thanks. We also have a website, stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.
Canadian Talk.